Hello everyone, Tally and Farrell here, and we are Bored of It, and welcome to our Bored of It's Top 11 Board Game Pet Peeves video.
Yep, so we should say up front that this is just a bit of fun. Being British, one of our national sports is complaining, and I think it's good for everyone. It allows you to de-stress, you can make humour out of it. So we thought we'd have a bit of fun and go through I think we have 11 board gaming pet peeves. And I think it's also important because a lot of people who comment on these kind of threads or whatever, usually theirs are other people, but we actually have been quite lucky in that our friends and gaming groups are pretty good to game with. Mm-hmm. So most of ours are kind of other things. But yeah, please, comment with your own and we'll all have a good de-stress. But yeah, so we're going to work backwards, and then we will count down. So we're going to start with number 11.
Okay, so first up is number 11, and that is arbitrary first player choices. How do you describe it?
Well, yeah, just
conditions. Arbitrary first player conditions.
Arbitrary picking the first, who goes first.
Exactly. And this was one that I selected, actually. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you find it as annoying as me. Maybe you don't, because usually it's you who always gets to go first.
Why? Because I've watched The Martian first.
Exactly.
No, the latest. So that one's on Mars, right?
The most recently.
On Mars is the player who's watched The Martian, and I'm like the only one at the table who's ever watched The Martian. So yeah,
hence that's why it annoys me. I think they can be quite humorous and funny in the first game when it's something like that. But if you play a game multiple times, and it's always going to be the same person who is always first, and that's quite annoying. There's another one, which is the youngest player gets to start. I can't remember which game it is. But again, always going to be the same person if you game with the same people.
Yeah.
Jaws game. Last person who was on a boat, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe that was something else.
Could be.
I like it because I like boats. I am often on boats. But if I'm on a boat, usually you're there as well.
Yeah.
So it's just never seems to benefit me. So that's irritating.
Yeah, I care less about this one. But I mean, it's a good point considering some games there might be a first player advantage as well. And if you have the same player doing it time and time again, because like being the youngest, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was number 11. Let us know if you agree or disagree. Coming on to number 10. This is something that I put in. And it's obviously, because it's at the end of the list, it's more of a minor thing, but paper money in games. Mm-hmm. It just annoys me. It's more, because the paper that they make it with, it's not like real money, which is like easy to grasp and differentiate. It's usually really hard and tedious to, it's not tactile, right, to convert money into other money. So, it's games like, I don't know, Lord of Vegas and some like 18xx games, obviously. Paper money, it just makes the game a hassle to play if you don't have iron clays or poker chips or something.
Yeah.
And I just think it's always better to have cardboard punch-out coins at worst, because it just, sure, maybe paper money like adds to the theme, but it's not as tactile.
Yeah. I was actually going to say, I guess maybe some games where you need a lot of money to do it in paper is like lighter, so the box isn't as heavy.
That's true. That's a good point.
To be fair, cardboard coins, it's not that much heavier. No. So yeah.
So yeah, number 10.
Okay, so number 9 is people who are really smug when they win. And I'm looking directly at you.
I would like to actually say that I was thinking about this because I know you put it specifically because of me. And actually what it is that you show your emotions so much at the end of the game when you're mad that you've lost that it makes me laugh, but then it's going to make it worse, so I try and hide it. No. And then because I'm doing this weird it makes me look really smug and it sets you off even more.
So, no, but sometimes it's not just your smug face, which yes is very annoying. Sometimes you're like, oh, well, who's won this game? 10 times, Tally. And that is incredibly annoying. So it actually does come out verbally in you as well.
Yeah, that's because you're giving me crap.
Very annoying. And the thing is, there's no reason for him to be smug because he's winning 80% of the games. Should be the smug one on the 20% that I do win, maybe even 10%.
You are smug.
I'm not. I'm just proud of myself because I never win. But you're like, easy.
No, so there's a fine line then, I guess, between being smug and being proud of yourself.
Yeah, and you hit the wrong side of the line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a particular problem with this.
Even when someone else is being smug. Think of a particular friend who maybe is quite smug sometimes.
Who's that?
I won and it was the first time I've played.
Oh, yeah. But now it's like a joke now, so we know, we have a friend who... if he wins a game, it's the first time he's played. It doesn't matter if it's the first time we've all played it. He's
mostly
like, first time!
First time playing. Like, it's the first time we're all playing.
Yeah,
it's not
he's smug. No, I mean, I've gotten used to it now. I think it annoyed me more before. But now it's just like become like almost a meme within the group. It is funny now, to be fair. So, yeah, there you go. Number nine, smug winners. Okay, number 8, and this is one of my ones, and that is family members who only want to play that one game you introduce to them. Obviously, if you're an avid board gamer, you generally have quite a big collection and you're always getting new games. It's like the chase for the new, thrill of the new. And so obviously, a lot of times when you do get family round or you're spending time with them, you have something cool to introduce them. And because they're not board gamers, they always want to play that one game you showed them 2 years ago that they like, rather than learn something new.
Yeah, they want to stick with something comforting that they know.
And you're like, I've got, and obviously some of those games as well, if it was 2 years ago, you probably played it like 50 times. It's like, for example, Codenames. I don't know, like, played it like, I still play it obviously, but we've played it like 50 times. And if we come there and we're like, oh, we've got this new word game. And they're like, can't we just play Codenames? It's like, no, we can't. Learn the new thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, they had to have learnt that thing that they liked in the first place. But it's like, come on, just learn this new one because you'll probably like it just as much as that one that you insist on playing. And, we had to teach that to you at some point. Yeah. So just open your mind a little bit and be a bit more open to the new learning experience. No,
this one's a bit more tongue-in-cheek, obviously, but it's just stuff like, and then you have the problem when you finally do introduce them to a new game, then they just want to play that game.
Yeah.
It's like we introduced El Dorado to like my mum and stuff, and now El Dorado's all she wants to play.
Yeah.
So now it's like struggle to make her learn something else, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do experience this if your family aren't board gamers, where you're just like, they just want to play that one like low level game that they all really enjoy. So yeah, that was number 8. Number 7, and this is games where the amount of components is disproportionate to like the level of play. And what I mean is where a box comes with like 1,001 components, but it only takes an hour to play. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking of like Orleans, for example, or Imperial Steam, where it's an absolute nightmare to set up. And you have all of these little tokens you have to sort out, and there's like 100 cardboard, pop-out pieces. But it's really kind of simple to play, quick to play, plays in an hour, hour and a half, and it's just... that disproportionality does like mildly annoy me sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Even though some of those games are our favourites.
Yeah, 100%. It's like annoying, right? Because then you feel like for Orleans, we've honestly talked about getting like a component tray to make the setup quicker, because we don't get it to the table as much because of all like the setup and the components and the finickiness. Because it's like you can't just be there on a game night and it's like getting a bit late and like, okay, we'll have one more game. Let's get our Orleans, because then it's going to take like 20 minutes to set up. Yeah,
which is a shame because, like I said, it is one of our favourites. We'd like to introduce it to more people, but yeah, the setup time and it's the finickiness actually, isn't it, more than anything? And they're like,
it's
components.
I guess it is just some games are. It's a lot of like kind of old style Euro games are a bit like that, aren't they? Where they just like really have a disproportionate amount of components and pieces compared to what the game is. Yeah,
on a related note, maybe not to do with the number of components, but I hate it when a game has lots of like unique components where it has like a round marker or something like that. And it's like, where do you put all of these single tokens that you have? Do you know what I mean?
So
they can't just all go in a bag together and there's like a big chunk of the same component, but they'll be like that one component goes over there and that one component goes there, and it's like all these like small individual pieces that can be a little bit annoying.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think some prime examples of this would be, as you said, Imperial Steam, Orleans. I was just looking, Dinosaur Island's a pretty bad one for that, because it's quite like a kind of lighter weight game, and it has so many like cardboard pieces, and they're like different player counts of different tokens. So it's like, what else have we got? I think, there's some stuff like that, but Vindication a little bit, because you have all of those tiles and stuff. That's not too bad, to be fair. But yeah, so that would be number 7, which is board games that have way too many components for their weight and length.
Okay, and in at number 6 is weirdly shaped boxes. And what we mean by that is boxes that don't seem to conform to a normal shape or size. Yeah. I'm thinking of Concordia, actually, 100%. Right now. I like that it's a very thin box. Thin boxes, big thumbs up from me. But it's then made like wider and longer than all of our other boxes. And it just makes it a little bit tricky to know how to store them. Yeah,
it makes it look awkward when you have like a nice kind of storage setup of games, and then you have these weird ones. And also, as the other part of this, we're talking about not just weird shapes, but ones where they just don't fill the space.
Yeah, it's
so irritating. It's like, I think Innis is like one of that, where the box is like pretty huge, and it could be about 1/3 of the size.
Yeah.
Because it's like so much empty space.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, I mean, so many games do it well. It's like you have Root, which is like an exceptionally well-sized box. You have Brass Birmingham, which has a thinner than usual box. It's just,
compact and makes the most of the space. Yeah. It's just, you know, obviously as board game collectors, we have a lot of games, but not a lot of space. So when companies are making these huge boxes that have a lot of wasted space. I mean, big boxes are fine if the space is needed and warranted. When it's a lot of wasted space, it just feels a little bit irritating because we are running out of space. We live in a city apartment, and, you know, if companies could alleviate that for us.
Just do better.
Do better. It would just really help us out, and then we could buy more games. Because we'd have more space.
And we can give a great example here, because the number 1 worst sinner in this category are those games, or the publishers of those games that your family has that they get out at Christmas. So this might be just a British one, but there's one called Drummond Park, who do Articulate and the logo game, and all of those like little family games that your family probably has had for like 15 years. And they do a normal size game box, and they just have a big crappy plastic insert in, and usually it's like one deck of cards, like a very small board that like flips into basically a small triangle, and then like, you know, a timer and a few like plastic pieces. And it's a full size box, and you could literally get it into like the size of a Cards Against Humanity box almost. Like, honestly, like with a little bit wider for the board. And they're awful for that. Like, you could honestly put about 3 or 4 of those games into one box.
Which we have done.
We have done, yeah. And but like we said, I think there are a lot of ones. Concordia is probably the winner for weirdest shape. Innis could do with a lot less space. It's like Cosmic Encounters one was pretty bad as well, because like I have about 6 expansions in Cosmic Encounter box, and there's still room for more stuff. Whereas like the insert, it was hard to even get the original stuff back in.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, it's just like, look at Root, look at Brass Birmingham, make bear boxes. Viticulture is a good one as well.
Yeah, lovely size box. Yeah, kind of a weird shape, to be fair, but it is nice and compact and small.
I think it can be weird if it's compact.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so misshapen boxes. So we come on to number 5, and this is bad rulebooks, and more specifically, bad rulebooks when it's from an established publisher, or it's a big money Kickstarter, or these games that have, like, you know, sold crazy amounts of copies, and yet the rulebook looks like it hasn't been, edited.
Proofread.
Yeah, or had like a professional look at it. And I think it just stings a bit when you look at this Kickstarter that's made, millions and millions, and none of it's gone towards a rulebook, and then people are struggling to know how to play the game. I think Awakened Realms are one company that I know kind of a bit notorious for this. Like, I think Etherfields is famously, the rulebook was pretty rough. We had our own issues with like the Nemesis, mainly lockdown rulebook, because it actually somehow was of worse quality than the original Nemesis, despite the fact that they copied most of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works, but yeah, do you have any examples? You would know, would you?
I wouldn't know because I don't read the rule books.
No, you've only done like what, 2 teachers ever?
Isle of Skye, because I bought.
Well, read the rule book and done teachers. You've done teachers before.
What else?
There was another.
I think Isle of Skye is generally the only rule book I've read.
I thought there was another one.
I really can't remember.
But yeah, so
it doesn't impact me. So feel free on that one.
No, but like bad rule books is definitely I don't mind so much if it's a bad rule book and it's like a smaller game, or do you know what I mean? Like someone doing on their own. I just can't stand these like a well-established company putting out a rule book and it just being absolutely trash. And I'm like, why? What's the excuse here?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was bad rule books. Now we're on number 4, which is lying about the player count. And this is where games, they say, I don't know, for 1 to 7 players, and if you're not playing at 4, you're not getting a real experience. Because, there are a few reasons why. Sometimes, it's cynical and it's just that they want to sell more games. Other times it might not be so cynical and the designers really believe that it's good at 2 players, or whatever, or that they just want it to be played by as many people as possible. But it's tough, right? Because if you spend your money on a game and you want it to be as good at all player counts, more or less, and it's very disappointing when you spend your money and it's not. And it's hard to know that, which is why we do our what games are good at 2-player series. It's not specifically for 2-player.
Yeah, exactly. So we think Root is pretty good, bad example.
No, I think it's just common, right? It's a very common example.
Yeah, so that has on the base game, 2 to 4 players. But if you play at 2, the recommended factions that you play with are just the cats and the Eyrie. So you're not getting that full experience that you would have even just by adding that 3rd player. Yeah. So that's obviously very disappointing if you spent your hard-earned cash on a game. That is addressed with the Clockwork expansion, and we do really enjoy playing it at 2 players. But the fact that you had to add an expansion to make it worth playing when actually the base game did say 2 players, it's just a bit disappointing, right?
Yeah, because it's not recommended that you play with the Alliance or the Vagabond. So you buy it and then it's not recommended to play with half of the factions in the game, right? Which would be disappointing.
Yeah.
I think another example for us, Scythe is our favourite game. If you're a viewer of the channel, you know that. We never play at 2 players. We just think it doesn't hold up particularly well, even compared to 3. And say that it's a kind of game where 2 people could play it in 2 separate rooms and have the same game. Yeah. So, that's another example.
I think it's fine as well when there might be like a 3rd player variant or who acts as a 3rd player, like Dune Imperium, for instance. Or Coffee Traders for us. We don't mind the 3rd player sort of dummy variant. Yeah. And you're getting in some games maybe a different experience than you would get with a real 3rd player, and that's fine as long as it's still the same amount of fun, even if they're different. Exactly. But it's when you're getting less fun by playing at 2 players.
Yeah, that's a
the
good
games
point.
that we're talking about.
It's when it's like a pale imitation of what it is at another count, right? That's the problem. And games where they say, I don't know, 2 to 5, but really you only ever want to play at 3 to 5, for example. So, that is our number 4 pet peeve, which is games that lie about their player counts.
Okay, and in at number 3 is actually deciding what game to pick and play at any given moment.
The hardest thing of being a board gamer.
Yeah, which is a really tough problem to have in life, right?
Like,
too many games to play.
Like picking a show on Netflix.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, sometimes we just find that we spend tens of minutes just trying to pick a game to play because, you know, we do have some new games coming through. So there's always the kind of push and drive to play them, but also some older beloved things that maybe we played a lot when we first got them, but maybe haven't got them out in a year that we just really want to play, but actually you want to play the new game. And then maybe you have friends around who also want to play other things as well. So actually just picking a game to play can be quite hard because it can be just very dependent on your mood and the time that you have and all of these different factors, right?
Yeah, we tend to now a lot of times use a randomizer where everyone will put in a game or two into the randomizer and we randomize it. But yeah, like you say, it's just like it's surprisingly tough when you have this big collection. You're like, oh, we can play anything; they're all good. But you know, different people, different levels of ability, different, you know, everything really.
Yeah, get a bit spoiled by choice.
100%. And I think, like, as a slightly less pet peeve, it's tough. Sometimes it's really tough to play games that you really want to play, not for any particular reason, but because maybe, you know, if you have a new game and you teach it to everyone and then they're kind of taught that game is new, you still want to play it. But maybe there's an older game that you play like 2 or 3 times that you really do want to get out again, but you'd have to teach it to new people and you weigh up the two, right? So we've had this with PAX Vikings, which we played it a couple of times when we got it, like 2 or 3. We really enjoyed it, but you do have to play it with more players. Like, that's a good example from the previous one, actually, where it was all right at 2, but it's such an interactive game that at 2, I think you could very much be on separate ends of the board and like kind of win without the other player being able to do anything. Yeah. Whereas when you have kind of 4 to 6, it really shines. And we struggled. We really wanted to play it. And we just struggled to get it to the table because the time was never right. Yeah. And we recently did it and everyone enjoyed it. So that was good fun. Yeah, definitely. But if anyone has a good system for this and making sure that like games are in rotation of an equal amount, maybe there's some kind of list system where, okay, you've got your new games you want to play, but like ranking some of the older ones you haven't got out in a while. So that if you're ever in a pickle about what to pick, you can actually just consult the list. Maybe there's some kind of system like that. Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you do to help you pick your games. So that was number 3, picking a game. Okay, so our number 2 is people who give up in a game because it's looking like they're going to lose. Mm-hmm. And self-explanatory, really? It's self-explanatory. I might be a bit guilty of this myself. What, you stopped playing? What? You stopped playing? No, actually, I would never stop playing. No. I never concede, but I do get in a bit of a bad mood sometimes. Yeah, like, 100%. Oh, what's the point in carrying on? Usually when you've done something annoying to me in a game. Pro gamer move? No, just really annoying gamer move. What, you mean like last night? Yeah, let's not talk about it because I'll get really mad again. Dead reckoning. To be fair, at least that was like the last turn though. You didn't have to play for much longer. It's not like I made you play for another hour. Well, that is true, yeah. But yeah, so obviously I think I'm the same. Like, I'll fully admit that there's times where I've basically had like a hissy fit, right? But I do, like in a game, if I'm not going to win, but I do have a real innate drive to still do the best I can. Yeah. So I'll be absolutely miserable, but I will still like play as best I can. Yeah. I just can't like, I enjoy playing board games too much. I can't give up on myself. No, I wouldn't give up. The best example I can think of is that time we played Barrage 2-player for the first time. And I basically misinterpreted one of the tiles I bought. And so it didn't do what I think. And my whole strategy being based around what I thought it did. And so basically, like, that was game over, and I was so mad at myself. But I still like did everything I could, right, even though it was a bit pointless at that point. And I had a good time in the end because I enjoy playing Barrage, but
yeah, and as annoying as it is, you have to carry on playing for the other players as well, because it's not fair on them to just give up and not care, like, and not play a real game, because they might be relying on you to do like real moves and like carry on as if you're trying.
I think that's another example we've had before where it's happened and like someone's given up, and it was a game where what if they play properly, it affects other players.
Yeah.
Because it triggers things for them. And when you stop playing, it's like if there's 5 people in this game, you begin to ruin it for everyone around you. Yeah. And because that can really affect like who can win and who can lose if you're not playing like a normal gamer.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a pet peeve for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. I think I can understand the kind of mood.
Yeah,
but I
you
think
feel deflated, right? And then you just can't be bothered to carry on.
It's just kind of like, if that's the way you're going to be, maybe it's best if you don't play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be. So. I mean, a lot of time. We've been playing a lot of games lately where we've got pretty...
It's got pretty savage.
Savage, yeah. Ultimate Railroads and Dead Reckoning.
My favourite.
But yeah, so that was number 2. People who give up during a game. So here we are, number 1, Bordovit's biggest pet peeve, and it is people. No, not really. It's specifically people who kind of treat discussion around board games as though it's factual and not opinion-based. Like, people who don't respect that you have an opinion on a game and all people are different, and some people like some games, some people don't like the same games, and they slam them or criticize them for what they like, basically. Because there's so much diversity in mechanisms, types of games, and just the amount of people who slam other people for liking something is like pretty grim. Yeah,
it's actually wild to think that some people do think that everyone should just have the same opinion. When there's so many games, like obviously everyone likes different things, and your experience with a game can be obviously influenced by a multitude of factors as well.
Yeah.
So to be told like, okay, your opinion is wrong, is,
it's pretty
can be disrespectful. Yeah.
And it's like, and so there's 2 levels for us because we obviously do reviews. And the first level is just generally like in the community, people saying it to each other. And the second level is us getting it like with our reviews. And, it's like, so for the first level, the example is I spoke to someone once and they made a top 10 list for fun of their games of the year. And this was a couple of years ago. And they'd put Tapestry in it, which, kind of divisive. I don't think anyone has it in their kind of, top 10 games of all time. We like it, but it's not the best game ever made. And there was a lot of controversy around it as well. And they basically put it in and they kind of caveated it with, I believe, they played it mostly solo and it's quite good solo, and they hadn't played that many games that year. And they told us that they got people commenting, being like, your entire list is absolute garbage because you put Tapestry in. Like, your opinion means nothing. And it's like, why?
Makes no sense.
It's like, how grim is that for someone to say that to you? Like, and then obviously the other level is that we're reviewers and it's opinion based.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I just think maybe the way we present our reviews, we just say what we think about the game. And people take that as that we're saying maybe that everyone needs to think this, when really we're just describing and explaining our experience with a game, which, like I said, could be influenced by a lot of things. I think some people expect it to be, what's the word?
Factual.
Factual and objective. When of course it's subjective, because it's, again, like I said, our experience with it. Maybe there are some reviewers who do make it more objective and maybe are stating facts about the game.
I don't know. I think we're pretty, because we generally say that we're like, look, people aren't going to like this. We do. Or,
exactly. So. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So we're just saying how we think about it, what others might like about it. But again, it's based on our experience of it. not.
Yeah. I mean, if you review in any medium, it's always an opinion because it's shaped by what you like, your experiences, like your mood, just your life in general. It's all shaped as an opinion. Yeah. Any review of anything is an opinion. That's why you find the reviewers that have the same opinions as you, and you watch them because then anything that they recommend, you know that you'll like.
But I think you can find reviewers that don't align with you as well, because again, if it's opinion based, you can just take the parts of it that resonate with you or don't resonate with you, and maybe there's reviewers that you maybe don't align with on a lot of their opinion, but that can also help to inform if you think you are going to like that game, because maybe that person's critiques or the negatives are positives for you, and you just need to take what's relevant for you and, you know, take the parts that resonate and like let go of the other stuff that doesn't. Okay, well, that's their opinion. I don't agree.
Exactly. And what's, I think, really interesting to us is we do this channel because it's like a creative outlet, but also we want people to, we want to expand the board game scene. We want people to find games they really like. We want people to enjoy themselves. We want to recommend things that we like. And that's why we're doing it. And we obviously thought that people watch because they want to know about a game. Yeah. But actually, a lot of people, which we didn't expect, who watch our videos are people who have already played the game, and they have the game. They've played it like 50 times. It's their favorite game. And I guess we all do it. It's like confirmation bias, where you want other people to see the thing you like as you see it. Like you want someone to reinforce your beliefs. And that's where we honestly get the most like hate, when it's people who have this game they've played and they love it, and they come to our video and we like criticize part of it, and they're like, what are you talking about? And they just like kick off at us and, you know, criticize us. And it was like, it's an opinion. And the funniest example, and it's deleted, so I think it's fine to say it, was we did a review of Beyond the Sun, and we were kind of in the minority in that a lot of other people, you know, professional reviewers, the community at large, they all loved it. And we were really like, we thought the mechanics were nice, but we got bored of playing it after a couple of games. And we didn't think the replayability was there in the same way other people did. Yeah. And we had usability issues as well. So we were, I wouldn't say we're negative, but we're like, And we actually said in it, we're like, everyone else loves it. So like watch other reviews, see what other people say. Like, because we aren't status quo. Yeah. I think that's quite fair. And we got someone who commented, and it was funny because they'd commented, deleted it, and rewritten it 4 times. And I could see through the notifications, like every iteration for some reason. And it basically was like the first one was a completely fair comment. It was just like, oh, I really like this game. I like it because of this. It's one of the best games I've played. And like, that was it. And it's like, of course, it's their opinion. They're completely right. If they enjoy it, they enjoy it, right? And then every iteration, apparently that wasn't enough, and they're like frothing at what we said. I don't know if it's because they're watching more and more of the review or something, but they basically got meaner and more personal every iteration till the comment was something like, you saw it, go on.
What? No? I was all deleted by the time I saw it.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So it basically just said, it was like, how dare you? Beyond the Sun is one of the best games I've ever played. I play a brand new game at least once a week, and out of all those games, this is the best one. And it was like, oh, like, obviously your channel's absolute crap, and everything you do is worthless if this is what you think of Beyond the Sun. And it was just like, whoa, okay. And I think I just commented back and said something like, first of all, it's an opinion. Like, this is our opinion of the game. Second of all, I don't know why us disagreeing with you on one game out of 50,000 board games, like, kind of
makes everything else null and void.
Yeah, it makes everything we've ever done worthless to anyone, right? Yeah. And then they just delete it, and that was that.
Yeah, I guess that is the thing. It's when people become like very personal about it. When, of course, it's personal because it's about your experience, but it's when. Yeah, I think it's just when people get a bit disrespectful and come for you personally rather than disagreeing maybe with your opinion on that game, which is, like we've said, absolutely fine if you can sort of disagree and have a good discussion with someone in a respectful way, then that's often where some of the best discussions come from. But if you're just going to attack people personally for their opinions, then it's just not cool.
Yeah, I guess it's just interesting because obviously the thing is we do a channel, right? So people can comment whatever they want, and like that's just how it is. Like we do it, we get that.
Yeah.
Can't complain about it. But it's just interesting that I think we expected more, like, I don't know, negative comments about anything, right? Like whatever. But it's just always people that like really enjoy their games, and then they watch our reviews and we criticize something and they get mad at us. And it's just quite interesting because it's just not something we expected.
No,
but yeah, I mean, so this is obviously in general, I think, not just we're saying this to reviewers, but we see it all the time. And it's the thing I hate most, I think, about board gaming is just the fact that people are so like rude to each other about things they like.
Yes.
It's just, you know, just
in any space, it's not cool.
Yeah, it's obviously an opinion. Like objectively, there is no objectively, basically. But yeah, all right. So that was our number one pet peeve, and it was people who don't take the discussion around board games as an opinion, but treat it like fact.
Another snappy title.
We're all about snappy titles.
Okay, so that was our top 11 board gaming pet peeves. Hope you enjoyed that video, and just remember it was just for a little bit of fun, and so that we can all have a little bit of a rant together, and it's quite cathartic to do that sometimes. Let us know in the comments if you agree with any of ours or disagree, and just if you have some different ones. Yeah,
I know you're going to have different ones.
This is a safe space. Let us know.
Safe space.
But thanks very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you're not already.
Exactly, and we'll be back as usual next time with our reviews.
Yes.
And we're going to be reviewing some very mean games. So if you like mean games, come back for that.
Good times.
Good times. Thanks for watching.